Good evening, class.
Good evening.
Okay, yeah. So you are welcome to PSAF class. So last week we discussed local government accounting. So today we will solve question on that local government accounting first. After that, we now move to public sector, public debt and debt management. So we can look at the question on that local government accounting for us to solve. So the question goes like, the Omida Local Government Council maintain a staff restaurant at Ibara Hospital. The following information is available for the year ended 31st December 2008. We are giving this following information for 31st December 2008, which is the opening balance. Sorry, is 2007, not 8. 2007. Are you with me? Hello?
Yeah, we are with you.
Okay, so in this information given to us about this Omida local government, they maintain a staff restaurant called hospitals. They now give us information about the staff restaurant. So the information given to us about the staff restaurant, they give us an opening balance of 2008. An opening balance of 2008 was given to us. So they now give us a cash book. They also give us the closing balance. So they want us to prepare income and expenditures accounts. They want us to prepare what? Income and expenditures account. So that is what they want us to do. So I will correct the materials. The following information really is available for the year ended December 27. What this one means is that this is the closing report of 2007, and it's going to be the opening report for 2008. So they were giving stock, provisions, stock, cleaning material. We are giving creditors. Under the creditor, we have different type of creditor. We have provision, we have gas, we have creditor cleaning materials, we have insurance, we have printing, we have debtors, we have cash. It means this is the closing cash of 2017, 2007. It's going to be the opening cash in 2008. Aside from that, we are now giving receipt and payment for the period. We are giving receipt and payment for 2008. Receipt and payment means cash book. In public sector, we call receipt and payment as cash book. Do you understand? We call receipt and payment as cash book in public sector. We are giving that. So under the receipt and payment, we have receipt side and we have payment side. Under the receipt side, we have sales. We have miscellaneous receipt. Under the payment side, we have provision, payment for salaries, payment for wages. For the wages, we have kitchens, cashier, and dining room. These are the three types of wages that we have. We have payment for insurance too, electricity, gas. At the end of the day, we are giving payment. After that, we are now giving closing balance as at end of 2008. Closing balance as at end of 2008. We are giving that too. What are the closing balance at the end of 2008? Closing balance for provision, closing balance for gas, closing balance for electricity, printing and stationery, insurance. Aside that, we are now giving additional informations. Some of this additional information given to us, they are relating to closing balance that was not clearly stated. They are relating to closing balance that was not what? Clearly stated. So we are now required to prepare what? Income and expenditures account for the year ended December 31st, 2008. Aside that, we are asked to comment on the performance of the local government in view of the guideline laid down by the local government. Let me just give brief summary of this account. In a local government, they have an hospital. Inside the hospital, they now have a staff restaurant. They operate that staff restaurant as a business venture. Patients will come and eat. The workers to come and they will pay. At the end of the day, they're asking you to prepare profit and loss accounts for this staff restaurant. Trading profit and loss account. They're asking you to prepare for this staff restaurant. That is what they are asking. So we are giving an opening balance and we are giving cash book. We are giving a closing balance. This is a clear question of incomplete records. This is a question of incomplete records. So what you need to do in this regard is you open a ledger for each of the opening balance given to you. You open a ledger for them. Example, number one opening balance given to you is stock provision. This stock provision is an opening stock. This stock provision is an opening stock. It's going to be, we are going to take it direct to the profit and loss. If you go and look at the profit and loss, stock provision 3345. I take it direct to the profit and loss. The next thing after the stock, the next thing we have after the stock, we have cleaning material stock. This cleaning material stock is not the major stock of the restaurant. It's not the major stock of the restaurant. So it's going to be regarded as an expenses. It's not the major stock of the restaurant. So it's going to be treated as an expenses. So you go and open ledger for it. So what are the ledger you need to open for it? You open a ledger. So look at my ledger. I've opened different kind of ledger. So the ledger I open for the stock provision is this. We know stock is an asset. Stock is an asset. If you look at the ledger 4, I call it stock account, cleaning material. This is the ledger I open for cleaning material because I will have taken it direct to the trading profit and loss. But this cleaning material is not a major stock of the restaurant. The major stock of the restaurants is the food provision that they buy. So I've taken it direct to the P&L. So if you look at this stock provision, the opening balance is a debit because it's an asset. The opening balance is a debit because it's an asset. This opening balance of 9,985, the opening balance, which is the closing balance in 2007, it become an opening balance in 2008. So it's an asset. I took it direct to the ledger. Aside that, the next thing is we have creditors. Anything creditors, they are what? Liability. Liability. If you want to open a ledger for liability, the opening balance will be at what side? Ledger for liability, the opening balance, is it going to be at credit side or debit side? If you open a ledger for liability, the opening balance, is it going to be at credit side or debit side?
Credit side.
Credit side. Thank you very much. It's going to be at credit side. So these provisions, creditors provision, creditors gas, creditor clean, creditor cleaning material, creditor insurance, printings, they are all liability. If you look at their ledgers, I've opened a ledger for them. I've put the opening balance, their opening balance. I've put it in the credit side. Their opening balance, I've put it in the credit side. Their opening balance, I've put it in the credit side. The only one I put in debit side was that stock, cleaning material. Stock is an asset. Secondly, the second one I put in the credit side, in the debit side, is miscellaneous debtors. It's also in the debit side because debtor is an asset. You open that. So you open your ledgers. I open my ledgers. When I open my ledgers, after I open all my ledger based on credit, based on is it liability or asset, I open all my ledger based on the opening balance. I will treat all these opening balance. I will post them. All these are highlighted. All these that are highlighted, they are opening balance. They are opening balance. All these yellow colored, they are what? Opening balance. I will open a ledger for them. Is it an asset? Is it liability? Out of all this yellow color, only two are assets. Let me just color the one that are assets in another color green. Cleaning material, they are assets. Miscellaneous debtors too, they are assets. Cash flows means opening cash balance. The question does not ask us to prepare balance sheet. It's asking for profit and loss account, trading profit and loss account, which is income and expenditure. So we don't need cash flow. We don't need to open a ledger for cash flow. We don't need to open a ledger for cash flow. Secondly, after that, the question now go further, said receipt and payment for the period were as follows. Receipt and payment in public sector, we call it cash book. Cash book in receipt in public sector is called receipt and payment account. You know, in cash book, receipt will be in debit. Why? Payment will be in credit. So these are the receipt and payments. The first item that we have in the receipt is sales. We have sales that we made during the period. We ask ourselves, this sales, are we going to take it direct to the trading profit and loss account, or we are going to take it to the ledger? We are going to take it direct to the trading profit and loss account because we don't have a ledger called trade debtors. Assuming we have a ledger called trade debtor, we'll have taken it direct to the we have opened a ledger for it and take it to the ledger. But we don't have a trade debtors. So this says in the cash book, we are going to take it direct to the profit and loss, trading profit and loss. So if you look at my trading profit and loss, the first item I wrote there is the sales, 239,410. That was the sales. I took it direct to the profit and loss account. Miscellaneous receipt is the second receipt under cash book. Miscellaneous receipt is a debtor, is in debit side. We ask ourselves, Hello, class. Sorry for the interruption. So the only ledger that relates to miscellaneous receipts among all these ledger, the only ledger that relates to miscellaneous receipts among all these ledger that are open is miscellaneous debtors. Miscellaneous debtors brought about, there's a relationship between miscellaneous debtors and miscellaneous receipts. As there is a relationship between trade debtors and sales. Do you understand? So in the cash book, miscellaneous receipt is in debit. In the miscellaneous debtors ledger that are open, this miscellaneous receipt that is in debit, this 1,932 that is in debit, if you go to the ledger, it's going to be in credit because that is the principles of double entry. It's in the cash book, it's in debit. So under the ledger, under miscellaneous debtors ledger, it's going to be credit. You can see that this 1,932 is in debit, is in credit in the ledger. So that is that. So the next one after that is I'll go to the payment side of the cash book. The first payment side of the cash book, the first payment side of the cash book is provisions. I made payment for provisions. I'll ask myself, did I have a ledger for provisions? Did I have a creditors for payments? Will result into liability. Do you understand? Creditors. If I didn't, if all these payments I made, if I'm owing any one of them, they are my creditors. So for provision, do I have a ledger for provisions? I will go to the ledger I open. If you go to the ledger, there's a ledger for provisions. So number one ledger I have is creditors provisions. The creditors provision, this is the opening balance. In the cash book, payments is in credit. In the ledger, it's going to be debit. It's going to be debit. It's going to be debit in the ledger. It's going to be debit in the ledger. Likewise, the second one I have under under that, the second one I have is I also made payment I made payment of salaries. Payment of salaries. I don't have a ledger for salaries. This payment for salaries, I will take it direct to the profit and loss since I don't have ledger for salary. So if you go to the profit and loss, you will see salaries, staff salaries. You can see the salaries. So I take it direct to the profit and loss because I don't have ledger to salary. I don't at the beginning of the year, I'm not owing any salary. At the end of the year, I'm not owing salary. So the salary that is in cash book or the salary that staff work for in the year. So I take it direct to the expenses under the income and expenditures account. I take it direct to the expenses. So that is that. The next one after that, wages. There are three types of wages in this question. I pay wages for kitchen, I pay wages for cashier, I pay wages for dining room. I'll ask myself, did I have a ledger for wages? Did I open a work ledger for wages? I did not open any ledger for wages. At the beginning of the year, I'm not owing any wages. Right at the end of the year, I'm not owing any wages. So this wages too is going to be treated direct in the income and expenditure account under expenses. So if you go to the expenses, you will see the wages. You can see the different type of wages I have. I treat them direct under the expenses too. So I will go back to the cash book again. Which item next after wages? Insurance. I made payment for insurance. I will ask myself, did I have a ledger for insurance? Did I open a ledger for insurance? At the beginning of the year, I was owing insurance. I opened a ledger for it. If you look at this side, you can see this insurance of 968. I've opened a ledger for insurance called accrued insurance ledger. So this is the opening balance. The one in the cash book, the cash book is in that payment is in credit. So in this ledger, it's going to be debit based on principles of double entry. In the cash book, it's a credit. In the ledger, the insurance is going to be debit. This is the insurance ledger I've opened. So at the end of the day, the next one after insurance, electricity, I will ask myself, did I open a ledger for electricity? At the beginning of the year, do we have any electricity unpaid? No, we don't have any electricity unpaid at the beginning of the year. We don't have any electricity unpaid. So at the end of the year, I will ask myself again, is there any electricity outstanding at the end of the year? If you look at the balance as at the end of the year that is yet to be accounted for, there is an electricity. So because of that, I will open a ledger for electricity too. I will open a ledger for electricity. So if you go and look at the ledger for electricity, electricity don't have opening balance, but it has a closing balance of 780. The amount in the cash book that was in cash book under payment, which is credit side, is going to be debit side under the ledger for electricity based on principles of double entry. I've posted that too. So I will go back to the cash book again. What is next in the cash book in the question? Gas. I will ask myself, did I open a ledger for gas? Did I open a ledger for gas? At the beginning of the year, there is a ledger for gas. Opening balance, ledger for gas. Opening balance, ledger for gas. So this is the opening balance ledger for gas. So the amount in the cash book is going to be debit because under the cash book, that gas payment that we made in the cash book is in credit, it's a payment. So in the ledger, it's going to be debit. So that one has been posted already. So aside from that, I will go back to the cash book again. Laundry. Did I open a ledger for laundry at the beginning of the year? Do we have any outstanding laundry? No outstanding laundry at the beginning of the year. But as at end of the year, there is an outstanding laundry. How? How do we get that? We were told that in the question that the laundry service is provided by the hospital throughout the year. The charges for the final quarter is still outstanding and is expected to be the same as for the remainder of the year. What they are saying now is they pay laundry per quarter. How many quarters do we have in a year? We have 4 quarters. So the amount of laundry that was paid in the cash book, this amount of laundry that was paid in the cash book, this amount of laundry that was paid in the cash book, this 3441 that was paid in the cash book was for 3 quarters. The 4th quarter is still outstanding. So how do we get that? They are now saying that the amount that they are paying for each of the quarter is the same. The amount that they normally pay for each of the quarter is the same. It means that for us to get that amount of that final quarter that is still outstanding, we know that this amount is for 3 quarters. It's for us to divide this by 3. We divide this by 3. We get the charges for the final quarter. Once we divide it by 3, we get the charges for the final quarter. So if you look at my notes, under laundry, If you open laundry, this laundry now, 3441 is for 3/4. For us to get 1/4, which is still outstanding, if the 4th quarter is still outstanding, it's going to be the balance carried down, because laundry is a liability. Opening balance will be credit, closing balance will be debit. So if you divide this 3441 by 3, it's going to give you 1147. You are going to get 1147, which is the charges for the final quarter. They said they pay laundry per quarter, and the question said they have paid for 3/4 out of 4/4. The final quarter is still outstanding, and they are saying that they are paying the same amount for all the quarter. And we know that they pay 3441 for 3/4. So for us to get that amount of that final quarter still outstanding, is for us to divide the 3/4 into 3. We get 1147, which is still outstanding. If you read the question very well. So if you read the question very well on laundry, so let me show you where there's talk about laundry. Note A, the laundry services are provided by hospital and recharged throughout the year. The charges for the final quarter of 2008 is still outstanding, and is expected to be the same as the remainder of the year. And in the cash book, we see that they paid 3441. This 3441 that they paid is for the 3/4, because they said final quarter is still outstanding, which is there is a 4 in a year. We have 4/4. They have paid for 3/4, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. The 4th quarter, which is the final quarter, is still outstanding. And they say the amount that they are paying for each of the quarter is the same. So for me to get that amount of final quarter that is still outstanding, is for me to divide this 3441 into 3, which I did. That is how I get that. Cleaning material. Did I open a ledger for cleaning material? Yes, I open a ledger for cleaning material. I will go to the cleaning material ledger. I will go and post that as an, so it's going to be debit. So this is the ledger I open for cleaning material. So the payment that they made for cleaning material in the cash book is in credit. It's going to be debit under the ledger for cleaning material. So I will do that. Next, after that, printing and stationaries too. I open a ledger for printing and stationaries. So I will post this one too. Miscellaneous expenses. I did not open any ledger for miscellaneous expenses. What that one means is that there is no outstanding balance as at the beginning of the year. Rather, there is no outstanding balance as at end of the year. So as a result of that, these miscellaneous expenses, I will take it direct to the profit and loss account as an expenses, because it doesn't have any ledger. So you can see 566. I take it direct there. So after that, after I've posted all the cash book finish, I will now go to the notes. What are the notes? The following amount due to creditor as at 31st of December 2008 are yet to be what? Accounted for. This is the closing balance. Closing balance for provisions. Provision is liabilities. This is the closing balance. The closing balance for provisions. So I will go to the provisions account. The provisions account. That creditors provisions account. I will go there. I will go and post the closing balance there. So number 1, this is the creditor provisions account. The opening balance is there. The closing balance will be debit. The amount paid in the cash book is debit. So the balancing figure is going to be 171,248. Creditors provision, the major stock of this restaurant is provision. So this balancing figure means the provision that they purchase during the year is the balancing figure. Is the balancing figure. This one is the balancing figure 171, because I had this in the cash book. I was giving this too. I was giving this too. At the end of the day, I will have a balancing figure of 171,248. So I will take it direct. This balancing figure now, I will take it to the P&L, trading profit and loss account. So if you look at my trading profit and loss account, purchases, working note 171,248. That is how I get the purchases, because the major stock is provision. So it will result into purchases. So aside that, I have another closing balance. Gas, closing balance for gas. I open a ledger for gas too. I will go to my notes. Where is gas ledger? This is gas ledger. So the opening balance is credit. The closing balance is debit. The one in the cash book is in debit. So the balancing figure is going to go to profit and loss account, which is income and expenditures account. So this is the balancing figure, 28,963. Under expenses, I will call it gas expenses. Gas expenses. If you look at it, gas expenses is under expenses. So aside that, after that, the next balancing one is electricities. The next item after gas under the closing balance is electricities. So I open a ledger for electricities too. If you look at the ledgers too, electricities, electricity ledger. Electricity ledger is note 8. Electricity don't have opening balance. It has a closing balance and it has a cash book. I will sum these two together. It will give me 3148. So the balancing figure is going to go to income and expenditure account, which is profit and loss account, which is 31682. I will take it to electricities. So if you go to the expenses, you will see that as working note 8. So after that, the next one I have, printing and stationaries. So printing and stationaries too has its own ledgers. I will go to printing and stationery ledger. Where is printing and stationery ledger? Printing. It has opening balance. It also have closing balance. So at the end of the day, this is cash book, closing balance. Opening balance is in credit, closing balance is in debit. So the balancing figure is going to be 390. Addition of this 448, when you minus 98 from it, is going to be 390. You take it direct to the profit and loss account as printing and stationaries. As printing and stationaries. After the printing and stationaries, I have insurance. Insurance too has a ledger. Insurance too have a ledger. This is ledger for insurance. So this is opening balance, cash book. The closing balance will be, because insurance too is a liability. Creditors, insurance. So the closing balance too is going to be debit. At the end of the day, when you minus this opening balance from the sum of the cash book and closing balance, which is 15,563, when you minus this 968 from it, you are going to get the balancing figure of this 14595. So this 14595, you take it direct to the expenses under your income and expenditure account or profit and loss account. So we have done that. We now read the additional information. This additional information, one, we have treated it. Additional information, two, as at December 31st, 2008, stock of provision amounting to 3498. This is closing stock provision. While that of cleaning material is 324. Stock of provision of 425 is to be written off. Out of this 3498, they said 425 is not good there. So I will go to my profit and loss account under my trading account. Somebody has a question, said, why is insurance in the opening balance of credit? Because this insurance is an accrued insurance, is a liability. Liability is always have the opening balance of liability is always in credit, while the closing balance is always in debit. For asset, the opening balance is always in debit, while the closing balance is always in credit. So stock provision, 3073. How do I get 3073? How I get this is, if you look at the notes, note B, 3498, you minus 425 from it. 3498, you minus 425 from it. Once you minus that, you get that, you get it. You minus 425 from it. 3498 minus 425. You are going to get this 3073. 3498 minus 425, you are going to get 3073. So that is your closing stock. So if you look at this, my account, income, and I call it income and expenditures account. It has a sales, cost of sales, opening stock. If I want to get my cost of sales, opening stock plus purchases less closing stock, I will get my cost of sales. My cost of sales is going to be 171,520. From my cost of sales, I will minus my cost of sales from sales. I will get a gross profit of how much? 67,890. Miscellaneous income. Miscellaneous income, working note 7. Miscellaneous income, working note 7. 7. This is miscellaneous debtors. Miscellaneous debtor is an asset. It has a opening balance debit. The amount in the cash book is in debit of the cash book. In this ledger is going to be credit. While the closing balance 248. At the end of the day, the balancing figure 2034. Because when you add this together, when you add these two together, it's going to give you 2180. You minus the opening balance from it, you get your balancing figure of this 2034. So you are going to take it as other income under the debtor, because debtors will bring income. So that is our miscellaneous income 2034. I will now set expenses. All these ledger that are open, these are the expenses and all the expenses. So let's go back how we treat them one by one. This miscellaneous stock provisions, we have treated stock provision. Cleaning material stocks too, you take it to its ledger. There is a ledger for cleaning material stock. There's a ledger for cleaning material stock. Material stock ledger. There's a ledger for material stock. Where is the ledger for material stock? Stock accounts, material. He has an opening balance because he's a debtor, is an asset. So the closing balance, which is closing stock, 324. The one that was in the cash book, so after that, I moved to miscellaneous debtors, which have treated it in the ledger. And the question said it is anticipated that a debtors of 27 is uncollected. It means when a debtor of 27 naira is uncollected, it means it's a bad debt. There is provision for bad debt. If you go to the profit and loss account under the expenses, you will see a provision for bad debt of 27. You can see this is the provision for bad debt. It's under expenses, 27. After that, note D. Note D said the cost of maintenance of the cooling system in the hospital is recharged throughout the year on the basis of floor area. The following additional information is available still on note D. The maintenance cost of the cooling system, which is AC, for the whole hospital is 87,555. And the floor area of the hospital is 17,511. Out of this, restaurant occupied only 400 square meters. So for me to get the cooling system, the maintenance cost for the restaurant, because I'm preparing this account for the restaurant alone. For me to get the maintenance cost for the restaurant, how much out of this 87,555, how much does it belong to the restaurant? How do I know? I know that the restaurant is within the hospital. So for me to get that, I will say 400, the square meter of the restaurant, all over 17,511 times the total cost. I will get that. So you can see maintenance cost 400 all over 17,555. 400 is the square meter of the restaurant. Why 17,511 is the square meter of the whole hospital, and the hospital is within the restaurant. So times 87,555, the total maintenance cost of that cooling system. So if I times it, I will get 2,000. It means maintenance cost for the restaurant alone is 2,000. So you will see that is how I get 2,000. So when you close up your ledger, all this balancing figure in your ledger, if it is assets, it's an income. If it is liability, it's an expenses. You will take them to under expenses account. Under your expenses account. You take them to under your expenses account. Aside that, there is a note. They said the hospital charged the restaurant an admin fee of 2,860. So admin fee that hospital charged restaurant, you take it direct as an expenses too. You can see I have an expenses called admin fee. 2,860. So I have an expenses called admin fees, 2,860. So at the end of the day, all your total expenses. Number one expenses that we have, salary. Second expenses, wages. Third expenses in this question, insurance, electricity, gas, laundry expenses. All of them, I have a working note for them. I'm going to total all my expenses. I'm going to get 138,395. I will minus them from the gross profit and other income. The gross profit I have is 67,890,20034. If I minus all the expenses from it, I'm going to get a deficit of 68,471. Deficit of 68,471. It means these expenses is more than the gross profit and the other income, the miscellaneous income. So when you minus them, you're going to get a negative of 68,471. That is the balance. That is the final answer. If you look at the notes too, part of the notes, they said, note F, the restaurant is not expected to break even. They are telling us that they do not expect the restaurant to make profits. However, the local government laid down a clear guideline. What is the guideline? They said the selling price that the restaurant should charge, it should be able to cover the cost of provision consumed. Cost of provision consumed means cost of sales plus 50% of that cost of sales. Secondly, the deficit that the restaurant should have should not be more than 50,000. Now, look at the deficit that the restaurant have. It's more than 50,000. They have a deficit of 68,471. 68,471. $68,471. That is the deficit that they have. Based on note question B. Question B said, comment on the performance of the local government in view of the guideline laid down by the local government. They want us to comment on the performance based on the guideline. What are the guidelines? The guideline is that the deficit must not exceed 50,000. The price set, the selling price that they should set should cover the cost of sales and 50% of that cost of sales. It means the selling price should be 150% of the cost of sales. Where is the cost of sales? 150% of, this is the cost of sales. Opening stock plus purchases less closing stock. 150% of 171,520. Oh yeah, go. Excuse me. So, part B of the question said you should comment on the performance. Based on this question, based on the solution, the restaurant did not perform very well. The restaurant performance is below the expected. Why? Because look at my notes. The guideline laid down by the local government council indicate that the deficit should not exceed 50,000 for that year. And the price set should cover the cost of goods, cost of food, which is cost of sales, plus 50% in both instances. The performance of the restaurant have breached the guideline. Why? Because the deficit is what? 68,471. The deficit, they have a deficit of 68,471, which is more than 50,000. The guideline is saying that they expect them to make a loss, but the loss that they should make should not be more than 50,000. Now, look at the actual loss that they make, 68,471. That is the loss that they make. Secondly, 150% of your cost of sales, 150% of 171,520 is going to give you 257,280. They say that is supposed to be the sales. Do you understand? That's supposed to be the sales. But look at the sales. The sales that we charge, the price that we charge, which is the sales, is 239,410. It's less than the standard. The standard is that your sales price, your sales should cover cost of sales and 50% of the cost of sales, which that one means 150% of this cost of sales. 150% of this cost of sales is giving us 257, 280, which is more than 239,410. It means this sale that they say is below the standard. By virtue of that, the restaurant have breached the guideline laid down to them. You can see there is a shortfall of 17,870. So the restaurants have breached the guideline. That was what note B. So you use two yardsticks, deficit and sales. They give us a target sales. Our target sales should be 150% of our cost of sales. Our deficit must not more than 50,000. In actual sense, our deficit is more than 50,000. It's 68,471. In actual sense, our sales is less than the target sales, which is our sales. Our actual sales is 239,410. It's less than the target sales. So please, let's practice this very well. If you have any question, you can send WhatsApp to me on this. Anyone that is not clear here, you can ask before we go to the next topic. Do we have any question, or do I need to explain again? So please. Please. So you can ask before we proceed to the next topic. The next topic we want to do is very important. The next topic we want to do is very important. It's called public debt and debt management. It's very important. It's called public debt and debt management. So in case you have any question before we proceed, please let me know. Based on these solutions, if you have any question, if you are not clear, raise your hand or ask a question. You pay for it. So please ask. Muibat, you will get the recording, video record of this lecture by God's grace and the previous one we have done. I will inform the admin and they will ensure that you get that. Do we understand? So class, can we proceed to the next topic, which is public debt? Can we proceed? That public debt is very important for PSAP. Every diet question on public debt normally come out. Can we proceed?